Zombies. Boom, boom, boom. Spooky, 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 spooky. Hello and welcome. It is October 1st. It is time to begin the spookiness. And what better way to start than zombies? Blah, zombies, blah, 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 blah. So, as you know, I've been watching The Walking Dead again. I watched the first and second season and then lost interest, but now I've decided to force myself to watch through this amazing 11-season experiment in the loss of humanity. And it's so many questions, lots of continuity questions. But of course, the main two questions that come up with watching a zombie show of any kind is one, who's mowing the lawns? And two, the zombies are magic, right? These are magic zombies because they can literally appear anywhere, and hundreds of them. Like, you know, they're in the woods. They look around the woods. They see nothing. There's nothing for miles, and then suddenly, poof, 20 zombies just out of nowhere. So, I think we can say without any shred of question that the zombies in Walking Dead are magic. Now, the one problem we all have is, of course, that these things in all these zombie movies aren't zombies. They are, by the definition, ghouls. Now, the word zombie is a very weird word because nobody actually knows where it comes from or where it first started to get into the popular vernacular. That's the word, right? Vernacular. Most research traces the origin of the word back to the Haitian voodoo practice, zombie. But there are also uses of the word before that. And then, of course, there's the whole thing that, you know, zombie didn't really exist until Hollywood started using the word zombie. You know, Romero called them the living dead, animated corpses, whatever. The idea has been around for centuries, all the way back to, like, you know, Mary Shelley, Frankenstein, and even before that. It's, you know, just one ingrained fears that we have of the sanctity of death being ruined. But the actual origins of the word, linguistical historians, yes, that's a thing, can't really agree on when the word first appeared. Most, you know, trace it back to the Haitian principle, but then there's the whole thing of, well, where did they get the word from? Because, you know, most words are based upon other words. So it's very weird. Now, the things in Walking Dead, the things that we see in all these movies and TV shows, thankfully the zombie fad has sort of petered out after COVID, right? They're not zombies, because the definition of zombie is magically animated corpse. And a magically animated corpse wouldn't need to eat brains. So they're not zombies. And when we're watching these zombie shows, we have so many questions like, why doesn't the virus affect insects? Why does the virus infect birds? Why doesn't the virus affect cows? Why is it only humans? You know, because from the point of view of a virus, humans are really awful methods of disease vector carriers. We are. We're especially if you look at how the virus decides to spread itself, by attacking and biting other things, which makes, you know, no sense. And if you're a virus that wants to attack things and bite things, and how you spread is through saliva, why would you pick humans? I mean, come on, we're stymied by stairs and closed doors. There are far better disease vector carriers than humans. Like, I don't know, insects, bears, mosquitoes. So yeah, but you're willing to forgive that because they're just so popular. Again, thankfully the popularity seems to be dwindling because, when you're dealing with real life pandemic, a made up zombie pandemic suddenly doesn't seem to be that big of a thing anymore. But they're not zombies, okay? They're ghouls, because the definition of zombie is magically animated corpse, and these are not magically animated corpses. They are animated by a virus that somehow can defy all laws of physics and locomotion and energy and everything else. I mean, okay, well, you eat, but since you're not defecating or urinating, what happens to the mass that you've eaten? It just stays in your stomach, and I don't know. It's just weird. But we're fascinated with them. We're fascinated with zombies because zombies violate two of our most primal, ingrained fears, issues, deep in the subconscious. The idea of the zombie, first, it violates the idea of the sanctity of death. That, it can always be killed. It will always die. That death is inevitable. That is just a fear / idea that is ingrained deeply in our psychology. But the zombie ghouls from Walking Dead and all these other shows, they violate that. They violate the very sanctity of death. They violate the assuredness, the logic of how the universe works. Here are things that are coming back to life that are dead. Here are things that are defying basic knowledge. Like, I shot holes in you, you're still coming. I blew out your legs, you're still coming. All there is a decapitated head, but that decapitated head is still trying to eat me. Where is it getting that energy from? How does this work? Why does it want to eat me and not, I don't know, that dog? It violates every idea we have of how the logic of life and death works. And the second thing is biting. Biting is a very primal, visceral idea. It violates the very idea of personal space. It's a very personal attack. Biting someone, is very almost sensual. It's associated with food. It's associated with basic desires, but it's also just a very basic, on the most basic level, a violation. Somebody bites you and rips your flesh out. That's just awful. It makes no sense. It's illogical. It violates basic survival instincts. It triggers both, the visceral, tactile fear, but also there's something very sensual about biting on some levels, and about consuming someone else. You're consuming me. That's just on many levels just disgusting and frightening, and just, you've taken away all my agency. But also on some levels it's very sensual. It's very tactile. It disgusts us, but it also appeals to us. So that's the other aspect of the fascination with zombies. And finally, we just love yelling at how stupid people are in the genre, because we know that the people that survive are dumb. How many times have you watched The Walking Dead? Have you watched a zombie movie? Have you watched a zombie television show and yelled, "Why are you so stupid? Why would you do that? That's not something people would do." My favorite, is the very first image, the very first iconic image of The Walking Dead is Rick on the horse going into Atlanta, looking at the cars going the other way. And at no point does he stop to look in any of those cars for supplies. And what's the biggest issue they continually have is we don't have supplies. It's only later when you see people starting to do that. And even then you're like, dude, you just walked past 5 houses. Why aren't you looking them for stuff? Now, I understand the whole point of The Walking Dead is that, you know, it is a metaphor for the loss of humanity, the loss of freedom, the loss of rights, the loss of the loss of basic, you know, rules that society options on, that, you know, how quickly we dissolve and how awful we are. Morning. If, you know, placed in a situation, you know, how quickly people resort to the most basic, primal, violent, inhuman behavior the second the system breaks. The Walking Dead are obviously not the zombies. The Walking Dead are the humans, and how far the humans are willing to go. And can Rick and the gang keep their humanity? That's, I mean, obviously that's the real thing, you know? But in terms of Halloween, in terms of zombies, obviously we gotta talk about them as the very first topic of our look at all things horrible. And it's October 1st, so zombies, brain eating. Why the brain? I don't know why you eat the brain. Brain eating zombies. We're afraid of them. They're scary. They come out with the jump scares and the blood, and they're horrible. Eek! I'm so scared. Anyways, that's number 1. Join us next time when we take a look at the legendary Center for Disease Control Guide to Zombie Apocalypse Preparedness. Yes, it actually exists. Though it's no longer active, it's still out there, and it's fun. It's Halloween, it's spooky time. Join me. Spooky, 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 spooky.